On this episode of Ruction Nation, we're doing something a little bit different with it being our 20th episode. We are going to essentially interview each other. Just a quick and dirty between Nick and myself. So I'm going to start out by asking a series of questions to Nick, almost not almost, but in an interview setting. And then for the second portion of the interview, or the second portion of the episode, Nick will be interviewing me. So my first question for you, Nick, is what is the biggest lie young people are told about college versus the trades?
That's a good question. By the way, everyone, we are doing this cold. There has been no prep. I think the biggest lie that is told about the biggest lie is that you have to go to college. 100%. I mean, that's it. I don't think it's always been the case, but it's definitely the case these days. If you don't go to college, you are going to be poor, unsuccessful, and unhappy. And that was certainly the case when I was in high school. You know, there's only one option. You go to college or you're going to be a loser. I don't know if that was the case for you, Cody, if that was the impression you were getting from your high school advisors or just the general public at that point. It was kind of, it's like, for me, it felt like peer pressure, you know, to the fullest, which don't get me wrong. There are benefits of going to college. I wouldn't be at where I am today, I don't think, if I didn't take the path I took. Yeah, which I kind of go back and forth on, you know, maybe I would be, who knows? But that is the biggest lie, is that college is the only option, because it's certainly not the only option.
Yeah, no, I agree with that full-heartedly. That was definitely, it resonates with me, the peer pressure thing, because I know that when I decided to not continue with college, it was like everyone that I talked to said the same thing. Really? You're just not, that's it? You're not going to you have to keep going. Like, come on, like you're already there. You might as well you have to. And so it makes a lot of sense to me. And it is hard to just what if, because I do see, I mean, working hand in hand together, there are a lot of things that you were exposed to, I think, sooner rather than like what I was exposed to. But it's also, I mean, that's splitting hairs to really like chalk up which avenue is better, you know? Like it's a little bit difficult to say.
Well, just for anyone that doesn't know, we both essentially do the same thing. We're superintendents for a multifamily construction company, so a little residential, a little commercial, kind of all mixed together. But we both took very different paths. Cody came up through the field, essentially no degree saying that, you know, this is the path you're taking, no piece of paper that says that. I went to school, and, you know, my piece of paper doesn't even say, you know, I didn't go to superintendent school. I went to school for engineering. I would say, looking back, and people ask me this all the time, you know, my grandma asked me this last Christmas, actually, when I was telling her about this podcast, and her question was, you know, do you really think you didn't, you know, do you think you didn't, how do I say this? She asked me if I thought that my degree was worthless, and the time I spent going to school was worthless, and the money that I spent going to school was worthless. And that kind of hit me, because it's easy to say, yeah, it was a waste of time. You know, I paid for a piece of paper. But you know, you spend those years kind of entering adulthood, growing up. I fortunately, I thank my parents for this. I wasn't given my college education financially. I had to I had to work for it. Um, and I think that meant a lot. Um, if you're going to school on a free ride, it's one thing to earn your free ride if you're earning scholarships or something like that. But if you're just given your education, um, and you're kind of just skating through, partying, college is fun. Don't get me wrong. I enjoyed my years. um, but the fact that I had to work for it and um, gain some real life experience and manage my finances, I think that has done me well since. I had to learn how to manage my personal finances pretty quickly after moving out of my folks' house. Um, because I was on the hook. If I didn't come up for tuition by the next semester, I was not going to school anymore. Um, so skills like that, I think were helpful. Um, I could go down a crazy rabbit hole on education and the systems that are set up in our country currently. And do I think college is a scam? I think a portion of it is. Absolutely. You know, do I think there's good things that you can take out of it? Yes. Do I think education is necessary? Yes, I do. Are there multiple ways to get educated? Absolutely. There's not one path.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. What would, um, like in a quick couple of sentences, what would your ideal curriculum look like going to school?
At what level?
Let's just do high school, since that's a pretty pivotal time for a lot of American, or just not even Americans, but for anybody and everybody that has to go to high school.
I think the problem with the curriculum, and this is a very complex question, or problem, if you want to call it that. There's no easy solution. I mean, our education system is pumping out hundreds of thousands, millions of students each and every year. So it's super complex. There's no easy fix in my opinion. I think it's lacking a lot of exposure is the main thing.
Hmm.
Um, and I don't have a great answer on how we get there, but there I was a good student in high school. I'm naturally, thankfully, good at the math and sciences. Math, science, uh, stuff like that. Reading, writing, that was kind of my downfall a little bit. But why are there just those four categories? That's what bothers me, I guess, is
Hmm.
yes, I think it's a life skill to know how to read and write, to know your basic math, science, understand how the world works. Um, yeah, but there's a lot more there's a lot more knowledge that you need to gain before you're a successful and productive person. Number one, finance, personal finance, huge.
Mhm.
Um, the American way right now is debt, unfortunately. There's really no way to avoid it, whether you're taking out student loans, buying a house, buying a car. I mean, stuff's just expensive, especially if you want to start a family. Um, but you can take out debt in a lower risk financially smart way, if that makes sense.
Why is that though? Like I feel like there is a whole lot of like no strategy. Wow, strategy when people are going out to like purchase a car or whatever. It's kind of like keeping up with the Joneses. Do you think that's because they were never taught, or what do you think that is?
It's a cultural um it's a cultural thing, you know. That's a part of our culture, I think. And just a part of human nature a little bit. You see the neighbor down the street with a cool bike when you're a kid, and you know, you envy that bike.
Mm,
You want that bike. Um, I think you see it in kids and you see it in adults. So I think a part of it's just human nature. I don't think our culture really helps. How do you describe it? We live in a blank culture.
like a 10-second generation or a 10-second world, I think.
You always want that short term um, dopamine hit,
Mhm.
or and that's, I mean, that's kind of what it is with things as well. You know, I'll use myself for an example. I go buy a new snowmobile, and yeah, it's awesome. Like, that's the best day ever. You pick up this awesome new toy, and it just kind of wears away quickly. You know,
Sure.
things things aren't going to satisfy you. Um, Not to say money isn't important. You know, you need money, but there's a way to manage it correctly so that you don't put yourself in a bad position and rely on A, the government, and B, other people, family, friends. I personally, I don't want to be a burden to family. So I never want to put myself in a position where I'm losing my house, and don't get me wrong, things happen. People
Mhm.
run into unfortunate situations, so it's not always avoidable, but I think that should be a huge part of high school. You know,
Yeah.
you're coming into adulthood, you're about to go on your own, whether you're going to continuing education or going straight to work. Um, what are you doing over there?
I don't know.
Clicking around. uh, but yeah, I think that should be a huge part of it. And then the second part is a little harder to fix in my mind, but exposure to like a lot of different things. I feel like I just didn't have any exposure to anything. I knew what my parents did for work.
Right.
I knew what my buddy down the street's parents did for work, kind of.
Mhm.
But within every field, there's almost endless um, paths and opportunities.
Yeah.
So take construction for instance. I've talked about this before, but I mean, my God, the different directions you can go are just endless,
Mhm.
endless. You know, you have, take our job site for instance, you have by the end of the job probably 40 different trades on site, and each one of those trades has, you know, 30 different companies in Colorado
Mhm.
at least. Um, so right there you got what, 120 different company options within these trades just on our job site, which is pretty specific.
Mhm.
Um, and within each of those companies there's, you know, 20 different positions or pathways you could go down. So, you know, there's two 2,400 options if you're just looking at our job site,
Mhm.
you know?
Well, there's so many little niches in each one too. I and the one thing that keeps popping into my head is there's like the trash service, everything that supports the trash service, and
Mhm.
then there's these like auxiliary things that circle around the trash service, like smashing a dumpster. Just so many things that I don't know. I would never think that would be profitable or even be a business, but they're all real needs, you know? So I agree. I agree.
What do you? I mean, how is that issue solved? Because high school kids just don't know about that stuff.
Mm-mm. I think it's
And I'll speak for myself. I did not. I didn't know how many options there were. It was like, oh, you're gonna go to school or you're gonna go to college. What are you gonna major in? Are you gonna do like business or engineering or I mean those are the only two I really know about, honestly. For where I went, those were the only two things I was thinking about.
how was that process for you? Like in high school, you go meet with the counselor and they help you fill out your application, or was it a class that you just filled out your application, or how does that work, or how did that work?
I don't think my high school counselors did anything for me. I don't remember them helping me in any way.
Yeah.
Sorry if you're listening to this, but I really don't. I number one, I was the first kid in my family that I was a first generation college student. To finish my degree, my mom went to college for a little bit, but um, my parents had no idea how it worked. I didn't have any idea. My advisors and counselors did not help. So I went in kind of just open option, like no plan.
Hmm.
No plan.
Do you think it would have there's job fairs. Do you think if they were to allow construction companies or trades to go to these job fairs, do you think it would sway more people, more kids?
I do think they'd pull out um the the kids that know they're not going to go to college, you
Mhm.
know. I mean, there are people that are like, yeah, I'm done with school. School's not my thing. And to be honest, I don't know how. I mean, you should be able to attest to this a little more than me, but I have no idea how people figure it out without that exposure.
Yeah, no, I don't know either. I
You kind of just fall into stuff.
You do, and I mean, we talk, and it's easy to fall into this, like, we're saying that people really should. I mean, obviously, we want to promote the trades. You and I both fully believe in what the trades have done for both of us, but there's also, I mean, college, there is a big purpose if you go into it with the right mindset. My personal opinion is I think people go to college too early in their life, and I just don't think people are quite ready, and I that's why there's a lot of, filler curriculum, if you wanna say that, just because 'cause they're trying to make it generalized for everybody, but I think college could be so much more efficient if they were to weed out the people or have people come in while they're a little bit more mature. So,
Hmm.
I don't know, there's a lot to learn in construction because it does just break you down. It makes you a little bit more humble, makes you work a little bit. Sweating never hurt anybody, in my opinion. So moving your body is important. And you get that in construction. And I feel like everybody should get that. It's like a nicer version of getting punched in the face.
It's just a punch in the face over the term of 10 years.
Yeah, for sure. And then you're like, oh, I can't get out of this chair. Yeah. But
Yeah, no, I agree. Some good things about my college experience. I was telling you about this the other day, but
mhm.
I had some really interesting classes.
Yeah.
Just to your point just now, I wish I could take those classes now because I did not take it seriously at 19 years old. I didn't give a shit.
Mhm.
I'm just trying to get through, pass the class, go home, and do what college kids do.
Yeah. No,
Um,
I shit you not. You told me about those 4 classes, 3 or 4 classes, and I looked them up. I was like, "Could I go to one of these at Red Rocks?" Just because it's interesting. I would
super
really like to
interesting.
see.
yeah, my design classes were really cool. They directly relate to what we deal with every day. I took a concrete design class, a steel design, a timber design. Um, those were the major 3. And then I did take quite a few direct construction management classes, which, you know,
Mhm.
once once you're into it, and I would probably say the same thing about those design classes if I was designing these buildings.
Mhm.
A lot of it's probably like, you know, background knowledge where I was doing hand calculations for designing a bridge or whatever.
'Cause
But
you were never gonna have a calculator next to you?
well, an engineer is just going to type it into their program on their computer and it's going to spit out.
Yeah,
Not to say that that knowledge isn't necessary,
sure.
but um,
Well, you have to proof it, check it, right?
same thing with the construction classes. I took estimating, estimating, scheduling. Um, there was one class just called methods, and I swear the whole class we just calculated how much dirt can fit in a truck, which
Helpful.
my God,
Yeah.
I struggle with that to this day. I
Yeah,
think
it's
everyone
helpful.
does.
Yeah, it does. It does.
um,
It's awesome.
so yeah, I mean, they were interesting. It got you thinking about things, which was the good part. They were fun. They got me excited about the industry.
Right.
I also had a really really cool professor. He was like my construction lead professor. Tons of real world experience, so he'd throw that out there all the time.
He worked for a general contractor, or he was a general contractor?
He worked for Mortensen.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, Mortensen guy. Did a lot of like overseas jobs. He was
It's
in
crazy.
I want to say he was in the Army Corps of Engineers doing like projects around the world.
Hmm.
So yeah, kind of very interesting guy, very interesting experience. A lot of it is fluff, and you know, I kind of look back and I laugh at some of the stuff, just like what?
Did he
No,
make it sound, like, over dramatized, or
no, he was actually very good at bringing it to real world,
Sure.
which I thought was cool. I think more like the textbook stuff
Yeah.
where I'm like reading about scheduling, and now I'm just like, that we're just way overthinking it, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
So not to say that scheduling is straightforward, very complicated
Mhm.
process, especially for these complex jobs that we're doing now. But yeah, a lot of it's just kind of like theory and different methods, stuff that you don't really understand until you're doing it in the real world.
Yeah.
If you're just doing it to pass a class, it's like,
You're just checking a box. You're not fully
well, yeah, I mean, when you're building as a superintendent, when you're building a schedule for your job, I mean, it's your livelihood.
Mhm.
It's how I feed my family, you know?
Yeah.
Like
For sure.
schedule needs to be good
Yeah.
or else we don't eat.
Yeah.
Not we get a B instead of an A, you
Yeah.
know?
That's so real.
The pressure thing, that I mean, that's another part of it. That's something that school can never
Yeah.
really match, you know?
That's true.
The pressure in the real world is, I don't have to explain that to anyone that's working and supporting themselves and their family, but yeah, I mean, it's, you can't teach that. That's all experience.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. Whereas is there anything that you learned in school that you, like, came across on the job site and you were, like, overly confident and it didn't really work out? Like, "No, I learned this in school, I've got it."
No, I was never really like that. Um, just growing up with my dad and kind of having
Oh, yeah.
a
That's a fair
little
point.
bit of a little bit of knowledge and like experience with construction people. I knew at an early age that's not the right approach.
Yeah.
I will say I definitely came out a little, I don't even know what the right word is. Like I was I was like email tough, you know?
Sure.
Like I didn't have the skills to work something out face to face with someone. And
Mhm.
part of that's being a young guy with no experience, talking to a guy who has 40 years of experience,
Yeah.
intimidation a little bit, you know. And then I go back to my computer and type up this nasty gram and never really worked out good.
Yeah. Well,
um,
you gotta, like, get I don't know, knowing you on a personal level like I do, you're much like myself where you need to gather yourself a little bit, like, think about all the facts because you wanna give such a factual thing.
that's a learned skill.
Yeah.
Definitely wasn't like that 10 years ago.
Sure.
You know,
Yeah.
I'd jump I'd I'd jump the gun.
Yeah. I would just never wanna say, like, the wrong thing, so I'm like, I don't know. Give me a second.
Yeah, I do remember that feeling as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, being a young guy in the industry is is interesting. I
Mhm.
mean, the crazy thing is you can go to school for 10 years, 15 years, I don't care how long you go to school. You're still the young green guy when you come to the job site, whether you're straight out of high school or straight out of college.
Mhm.
Um, there's really no getting around those first probably 5 years of being the young green guy.
Yeah, I agree with that.
There's a lot of experience in those first 5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, just learning how to deal with people, um, learning how to do your job. I mean, I do think takes 5 years, um,
Yeah.
at least personally speaking.
Well, we talk about this a lot, not a lot, but it's been a hot topic recently between us is the acclimation period and the downtime to get something rolling, whether it be your career or a job or just a segment of the job. There's an acclimation period.
I think it's for everything,
Yeah.
you know? I think it's personal life too.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, if anyone doesn't know, Cody and I both have young kids and, like, transition you go through the several transitions in your life. There's, like, you're a kid, you know, your parents take care of everything. Then there's, "Oh, I have some freedom. I'm going to college. I'm starting my career." Um, that's a transition as, like, a single person. Then you're coupled up. That's a new thing. Then you get married. It's even newer. Settle down, you know, put roots down. And then the nail in the coffin is having kids. No, it's just the biggest change. Um, lifestyle wise and just responsibility wise. So there's those personal, you know, milestones and life changes. I think career wise, it's very similar. My dad always told me growing up, when I started working, you know, with every pay raise, with every promotion comes the responsibility increase.
Mhm.
And he was not wrong. You know, every time you jump up, it's another level. And I don't know if I'm the only one that's this naive, but I did not really expect that or understand that to the fullest,
Mhm.
um, until I started, you know, moving up in the industry. Um, even my restaurant job, you know, same thing. It was like, you know, you're cooking food at one point or waiting tables or whatever, or working the cash register. As soon as you become like a manager, then you're like worried about what everyone else is doing. You know, it's a big change every step up you take. And companies don't give you more money for nothing. It's
Mm-mm.
it's true. So like looking back, and I was so dumb, like I didn't even know. I was naive. I didn't understand that. But I would just hear that and be like, "Oh yeah, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Give me more money. Give me I wanna stop going home covered in grease every night. I wanna, you know, become a manager, whatever." Um, it's a headache. It's hard.
Yeah, you have to create the value to get paid what you want.
And the other thing that I don't think a lot of people understand, it's hard to know and understand, but it takes so much time to make those steps.
Yeah, it does.
Hindsight, it feels like it's not a lot of time, but
Mhm.
when you're in it, 2, 3 years till I'm at the next level feels like forever. Feels like you're gonna be stuck there forever. Um,
Why do you think that is? Do you think people just get lost in the day to day, or do they just get so infatuated with this that they just lose sight of everything else?
I think so. I mean, I go through periods where I'm, like, very honed in on, one thing, and it's a grind,
Sure.
every day is just like, "Oh my god, how am I gonna make it to the end of the day? This is brutal." Or, "How am I gonna get to the weekend? Like, it's just going by so slow.
Right.
This month's been horrible." And then other times you kinda broaden your point of view and, um, if you have a lot more going on outside of this one thing, it helps me personally because you're trying to get all this done during the 8 hours, 8, 9 hours you're at work, and then you go home and I got 3 hours, I gotta do this, and then the weekend comes and you're like, "Man, I got 2 days to go have fun for one of the days and hang out with the family or some friends or whatever." And then the next day, like, I got this whole laundry list of stuff to do,
Yeah.
and time flies when you have that much going on. When you have a lot of stuff, when you have projects at home, plus it's busy at work, and you're just like, "Holy shit, I need like a whole nother day in the week to
Yeah.
to accomplish all this."
Yeah. That's a massive topic that you and I talk about, just time and just gaining time, just to the topic of you talking about us having younger kids, just being able to create more memories and more time with them is where that extra day is needed, in my opinion. So time, it always goes back to it.
Well, let's pause there for a second. Um, we do talk about that quite a bit.
We do 100%.
How how do you personally manage your time?
I think it changes with the seasons, or it has changed with the seasons. And it's kind of like it's the it's an up and down, and it depends on what the priority is for that section of life. Like for me, I may be oversimplifying this, but there in my head, there's things that mean the most to me, my why, and then there's things that support the ability to do fun things with my why. So my family right now, being a young dad and having the opportunity to watch my 2 boys become the boys or the men that they're going to become, I want to make sure that they're able to have all the things that they want, and in doing so, I respect that I have to perform at a high caliber to continue to create value at my job. So, because that's ultimately what allows me to be there and to do the fun things with my family. So, it's just this weird pull. It's like being in the middle of a tug of war game, if you will. Like, work needs me here for X, Y, and Z, and I need to do that because that provides for my wife and my kids. But then I get pulled to the other side because it's necessary. You need to be present and you need to be there for your family. So I don't know. That doesn't really answer your question, but I don't think there's a I don't think there's a perfect scenario or a perfect equation of what you can do. I think you just kinda have to roll with the punches. Just have to figure it out. You can't be so dead set in one realm, otherwise you won't succeed in either of them. So I don't know.
It's a juggling act for sure.
Yeah. Just figuring it out, trying to make do with what I got and make sure that I'm doing a very good job at just everything, not doing exceptional in one, you know?
Yeah, you're finding the balance.
Yeah, for sure. What about yourself? Same question. How do you balance time or weigh time or prioritize time?
I've learned that I personally need to let go of certain things.
Mhm.
Like you said, just be, you know, not 100% on one thing. It's okay, I'm going to be 75% at four things, you know?
Mhm.
And really just got to roll. You just got to roll with the punches a little bit. Um, I'm, I think we're both kind of, we think about the future a lot.
Yeah.
Um, just from our conversations outside of this, but dreamers, if you want to call it that.
Mm.
Sometimes you just need to be in the moment. Um, that slows time down, really does. If you're if you're constantly thinking about the next thing, um, it feels to me like things just speed up, and you definitely want to have future in mind, but also like, oh, it's Sunday morning. I'm just gonna watch a movie with the kids or whatever,
Mhm.
slow it down. I'm just gonna read books for an hour with the kids, or you know, reading a book just for yourself. Like it's not like the most fun, exciting thing to do in the world, but it does slow things down. It slows your mind down. Kind of pulls you into the moment a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
So that definitely helps me.
Yeah. I was just thinking learning how to say no is a really big thing as well. We were just literally talking about this a couple hours ago. Just even if you want to do something or you feel like you need to do something, saying no and just taking that extra breath, respecting your own time, I think is a huge, huge thing that you need to do in order to actually gain time. So if you're just saying yes to everything, or you're just kind of running around the job site with your pants on fire, like I need to do this, but then I need to do this, and then you turn into just such a reactionary robot that you're never ahead if you're doing that. So if you just take the extra 30 minutes, sometimes 2 hours to get ahead in whatever sector or realm or trade that you're trying to focus on, it frees up so much space for the next day. Like as corny as it is, I know I've told you this, but I do divvy out I divvy my day up by like what's going on. What's on the critical path will take 50% of my time, and then the next thing will take, I don't know, whatever, 30% and so on and so forth. And just if I that's just how my mind works. I don't know how anyone else's minds work. I'm definitely a percentage person. And so I'll dedicate 4 hours here, 2 hours there. And if I'm coming up on the 2 hours that I allotted for this whatever thing, I is it important? Is it going to get solved today? No. All right. Can it get solved today? Can I spend the extra 5 minutes and get it off my plate? All right, then we're going to spend extra 5 minutes here. But if it's not going to get solved, then on to the next one and put the extra time into that. It's like a snowball effect, if you will.
Yeah, people that can't do that, I mean, you can see it. Yeah, we see it every day. I mean,
Mhm.
they burn themselves out. They're just they're just their mind is just in a frenzy because they can't divvy it up. They can't break things down enough. It's just like running all over the job. Just I think their life is like that too. Like, oh my god, I gotta do this, and my taxes are due, and I gotta get an oil change, and I'm just,
I've been driving on two
it's just
tires.
like
I should have four.
it's just like holy shit, dude. Just do one thing.
Yeah.
Just do. I give people that advice when people are like, man, it seems like you really got your shit together. Like, how do you maintain your lifestyle and, keep it all together. I'm just like, dude, just do one thing a day. Just
Mhm.
accomplish one thing. It can be the smallest thing. But the problem is people try to do way too much and they do nothing.
Yeah,
So if you can
that's a
just
very good
do
point.
if you can just do one thing to keep your life in order, it's better than nothing. So start there. Just do one thing.
Yeah,
I mean, that the household can get a little overwhelming sometimes
for
with
sure.
young kids, and you know, God bless her soul, but like my wife, you can kind of get overwhelmed. There's just so much going on, and sometimes I'm just like, all right, let's just do one thing. The house is a disaster right now. There's mud on the carpet. There's food all over the kitchen. There's a pile of laundry as big as Mount Everest. Let's just tackle one thing.
Mhm.
Just do one. Just do one a day, one a day, one a day, and then it slowly will get better, and you can get a grasp on the whole picture.
Yeah,
Same thing at work. You can run around um and try to do everything, but I guarantee you, if you try to do everything, you are going to do nothing.
for sure.
So make yourself do one productive thing to start, and then as things get kind of in order, you can jump up to, okay, now I'm going to do two things. And then eventually you can get to the point where, all right, I can do 20 things today because it's not a complete shit show out there,
Mhm.
you know? So
Yeah,
that's my advice to people is just start with one. Start with one thing and do it 100%.
yeah, that's a big one.
So that's my 2 cents on
Time management.
time management. Yeah. Yeah.
Hell yeah, that's awesome.
It's a snowball effect.
It is, for sure. I've been thinking about this, and I don't really know how I wanna word this, but since we've been in the social media realm or the podcasting or yeah, doing the podcasting thing for some time now, why why do you think society respects influencers more than people who build the world? Like, why does their voice have so much weight?
It's exposure. People don't know. People don't know what, you know, Billy the carpenter is doing every day,
Yeah.
or Johnny the plumber.
Mhm.
People don't people don't think about where their shit goes, like
Yeah,
people are addicted to social media, number 1,
they are.
including myself.
Yeah, I think everyone is. It's so easy to lose time, you know? You're
It
just
is. But you're seeing it. You're seeing it like, oh man, this person's got a hack for whatever. Like, this person, I don't know, I'm trying to think of an example. Um, there's just so many videos that I watch every day. It's just I can't even think of one. Isn't that crazy? I can't even.
I'll think of one. Before we hopped on, there was somebody throwing a knot and then throwing it
Oh yeah.
at a hook for to rig something up, and I watched it 10 times because I just wanted to figure out how to do it. It's awesome. There's just so many things, and the internet, social media has done such a great job exposing these people and these talents.
Hmm.
And I do think there's a massive wave, and it's something that's I know near and dear to my heart, and I know that you share it in some capacity. But Ruction Nation is to give a platform to Jim Bob the plumber or whomever, to create some exposure, to show what they've done, what they do, and how it supports our everyday life. And we've had the opportunity to have people that we've worked with for multiple years on our job sites. We've also had the opportunity to bring people on that are excelling in their social media platforms. So we've been very, very fortunate and blessed, if you will, to just see what other people are doing. You know, lights got a little crazy. We're saying such good things. We were saying such good things. Yeah, we've just had social media as a whole is just a massive opportunity for everyone. It's connected so many people, and it's taught a bunch of people a lot of things.
It's super useful. The thing I do not like about it is you're not seeing the whole picture.
Nope.
You know,
Nope.
you're getting a little snip, a little glimpse of someone's life, whether it's, you know, someone driving their, you know, Ferrari or whatever. It's just like, okay, man, that guy's life is awesome. I think that's the downfall. I don't think it's a secret. I think everyone kind of understands that. Um, hopefully, I don't think kids understand that. Um, but it is you can learn so much from social media and the internet. But that's why we like doing the long format, you know, like let's get to know this guy. Like there's so many layers to these guys, and it's really cool that you and I get to see it every day.
Mhm.
But a majority of people have no idea, you know. And not just construction. It's every industry, it's every occupation. It's like I don't know what, you know, the guys down at the city do every day. I don't know what their day looks like. I don't know what the firefighters behind our job site do every day. It's interesting to hear about it
Mhm.
firsthand from someone. And we hope that by hearing about some of these tradesmen's day to day and stories, that it'll, number one, inspire people to look into that industry, or um, number two, for people that are doing it every day, something to relate to,
Mhm.
and to hear, like, you know, this is especially the struggles, right? You know, the struggles you kind of just have to swallow and take home with you. And if you can hear about someone else's story that's similar to yours, hopefully, hopefully it helps.
Mhm.
I think that's I can't describe why it helps, but it it does help to hear a relatable story um, from someone doing the same thing as you.
Yeah. Um, so speaking of struggles, um,
You have one more question until I get to question you.
sweet. Well, then we'll end on this one. uh, yeah, this is kind of heavy. Speaking of struggles, what was the lowest moment in your career, and how did you bounce back thus far?
Hmm. Well, I don't know. That's a hard one.
It's a hard one.
I don't know. Lowest point in my career.
I guess it doesn't have to be lowest. It could be the most trying thing that has happened.
So the two hardest times that I've ever had to deal with, and these aren't specific times. This has happened multiple times during my
Mhm.
career. Number one is being too slow and bored. The day goes by super slow. It, I mean, you just can't help yourself but to think like, what am I doing? I'm just like wasting my time here. This is just, there's not enough for me to do. I could be here for 4 hours and I could be spending the other 4 or 5 hours of my day doing something more productive for myself.
Mhm.
So those times are hard. And then it's the complete opposite end where you're so busy and overwhelmed that you just can't manage. I've been there too. That's probably worse, I would say, is when you are so under the gun. You have crazy amounts of pressure to perform. You don't have enough help, can really hurt.
Mm.
And just like I was saying before, accomplishing one thing at a time. There's been moments where I'm just trying to do way too much, and you literally cannot think clearly because you're so overwhelmed. Though those times are hard. I've had a few of those, and it's probably lasted 6 months. It's probably the longest amount of time that I've been like overwhelmed. And it could be work and personal, all of it kind of at the same time. Um, Personal life, work life, all kind of in the same category, same timeline or same, I don't even know what I'm trying to say. It's all happening at once. Like I said, it can last a while, 6 months. And, it seems when I'm in that kind of headspace or time period, it seems like it really ramps up. It kind of starts off like, oh, this is kind of crazy. This is hard. It's getting hard for a couple months. And then it, it ramps up pretty quick because you're just so behind. You're just like I was saying, car needs an oil change. I got to do my taxes. I got to get to the dentist, and like I got all this stuff personally stacking up. And then at work, it's like, oh my God, I haven't done any paperwork for the last month. I'm behind on, all that stuff. My schedule looks horrible. It's not accurate. I'm over budget. Like it just keeps compounding in both areas of your life, um, and then it seems to peak where you can almost reach a breaking point where you're like, man, I'm just gonna walk away from it all. I've thought about it before in those really tough, overwhelming times. I'm just like, man, I'm driving home and I'm looking down the freeway and I'm just like, there's my exit. Should I just keep going? Do I just take off? I mean, it sounds really appealing during those times. Um, and how do I pull myself out of that? It it's really breaking it down to the simplest that you can,
Mhm.
It's breaking it down to that. All right, I'm gonna do one thing. I'm gonna just do this one thing today. It's the whole thing's fucked. Anyways, like just gonna do one thing. Then you do one thing, one thing, one thing. Okay, now I'm a little caught up. Now I can ramp it up to a couple things today. And you slowly pull yourself back out. It's hard to do. And I'm not gonna say that I haven't had great support too. And I'm pretty open and honest about things like that and support of coworkers, support from friends and family. It really, really does help. So, um, don't isolate yourself if you're feeling overwhelmed with life, whether it's personal or work or both. Don't isolate yourself, and it's so hard to reach out to people, and I understand that, but yeah, it's you have to do it. You got to lean on some coworkers, you got to lean on your boss, um, and then slowly pull yourself out of that.
Yeah. It's great advice. Go ahead. You said you wanted to ask a question.
We're gonna take a little break.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whoa. That scared me.
Sorry. Mm.
You digging it?
Yeah, I'm digging it. I think it's great. You?
Yeah.
You ready? I like how these mics sound. No, I do really like it. I'm digging it. We should do this more often, actually. That's like very like feels very good to like record our bullshit.
Should we make a guest phone call?
Who?
Nolan.
The Hector? Let's do it. We'll do it at the end.
At the end? All right.
Yeah.
You ready?
Listo.
What does that mean?
Ready.
Just kidding.
Rock back and forth. I'm nervous. The buildup is insane.
All right. We are back. So we're doing this show just with Cody and I. We kind of just wanted to interview each other. And yeah, I have a guest on this one. So just wanted to I think we were just talking about we might do this more often. It's kind of cool. Just have a pretty focused conversation. So jumping into questions for Cody.
Dun dun dun.
Let's just start simple. Cody, how did you get into the trades?
I was working at Toys R Us and I was in a relationship with a lady and her dad owned a construction company and I had a couple family members that were in construction, but it was never like my immediate family or no one ever really talked about construction positively or negatively. My grandfather, who works for a flooring, they specialize in epoxy flooring. He was really my only baseline at the time, along with a couple cousins. But I just saw how much he worked. I saw his highs, I saw his lows, and then I saw him come back up. And I honestly don't know if I'm just broken, but I thought that was really cool. Just that there was an opportunity for you to hit a top, hit a really low, and then be able to scale yourself back up and position yourself in a better manner. So I was working with a gentleman who does custom homes in like the south, like Denver metro area, focusing in the southern area, and worked with him for a couple years. had an opportunity to join a bigger GC based in southern Denver, and I worked with them for 9, almost 10 years, focusing on churches, schools, really just kind of anything, health centers, um, just from being a laborer to a carpenter to a foreman to a superintendent with them. And I've just never really turned back. I've really enjoyed the instant gratification. I've loved the opportunity that I've been able to give with my wife and myself and our kids to be able to flip homes, and just never have to pay somebody when something has come up. So I guess I've always really liked working with my hands, and I've always liked controlling the direction that I'm going. So that's what construction's allowed for me to do. I know you asked where did I start, but that was a quick and dirty of where I've been and where I am and all that fun jazz.
What is your favorite thing you do? What is your favorite part of your job now?
I love the people. I do really like seeing people succeed. I like seeing the hard work that they put in. And I like watching people overcome what society would deem impossible. Um, it's the people for me. It's just seeing clean, polished people or good old boys that want to work, or even guys that have been dealt a rough hand or decided to put themselves in bad situations all come together as a village with one goal in mind, and it's to turn over a building. It fascinates me, and it just is so cool to watch how talented people are and how passionate they are for their little thing that they do. So it's the people to answer your question. My favorite thing is working with these people and just getting to know each person on the job site.
Can you elaborate on that portion you just said about what society deems as impossible?
Yeah, I mean it can be many things, but when you look at, I guess the best thing and the most like impactful thing that I've been able to see is an individual or a person who, I don't want to say was a victim of their upbringing, but they made decisions. Like they made a poor decision that put them in a situation that they needed to like figure out or grow up. So there's a not a lot, but there's been a handful of people, one person in particular that I can think of who, while I was a carpenter framing, he worked in a halfway house, was a rougher individual, but his skill set was, I mean, I learned so much of how to do. I mean, I may owe him a little bit more credit than I was about to give. He showed me how to do virtually everything that I know how to do in framing in the small stint of time that I got to work with him. It was about a year that I worked really hands on with this gentleman, but he decided to do whatever he did in his upbringing, went to jail, got locked up, was granted work release, and everybody that looked at him wrote him off as soon as they saw him. He was a loser. His appearance was shit, and he just had nothing to contribute to society. But when you put him in an element where he was comfortable, he excelled. Like he was very good at working with his hands, and he went through the halfway house program and kind of fell back into what his normal was, what he was familiar with. And I do remember he got in trouble again but he was doing so good for there was like a 4-year stint, and there was people that spoke on his behalf, but the state, he had a state case, and the state was trying him and deeming him as like he could not get a second chance. He was not um, a citizen that could uphold a job or contribute or anything of that nature. But in this, I don't know how long this trial was, but enough people came and talked and petitioned and did whatever they could, and they rallied around him. And it was all job site people or workers or people within the company rallied around this individual, and they actually got him to get released, or I don't know exactly how everything came out, but he is now on his own doing his own thing, runs his own company or runs a company, and he's a very successful mill worker. And it's just my only story that I have truly where society wrote that gentleman off and said that he would not be able to do anything or wouldn't be able to contribute in any capacity because of something he did when he was 15. And now he's however old he is, running a company successfully. So that's kind of what I mean. It is what I mean when I say society writes someone off.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the flip side, there's entire crews, there's entire companies who set foot on like building a building. It doesn't matter how big the building is. It doesn't matter what the building is. There's challenges with each job that everyone does. But I do think when we break ground in some of these municipalities, there's a lot of like hemming and awing, or awing and hemming, or whatever that phrase is. But like, can these guys do it? Why are they doing it? Why in my hometown? Why? And then there's also like guys that have been in the trades for a long time, and they sit back and scratch their head like, is this really the team, or is this really the crew? There's just a whole lot of like backhanded things in construction that I've seen thus far. Like, and it's not from a malicious standpoint. It's just you don't really know until it happens, you know? And so it's not everyone pitted against each other, because everyone wants ultimately the same goal. Like, these municipalities want their whatever to be built. The teams that hire, or the companies that hire the teams, they want them to succeed because they succeed. And then the subcontractors that work with each other, and the GCs that work with these subcontractors, they all want to succeed, and they all want each other to succeed. But there's always this like, well, I just don't know if that individual can do it, you know? So everyone's just kind of behind, or kind of working against each other, but kind of helping each other, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. What is your least favorite thing about your job?
My least favorite thing about the job is the people. Again, it's
interesting answer.
Yeah, people tend to make things harder on themselves because they're not real with themselves. So it's the greatest thing, and it's also the hardest thing about the job. It's like accountability, setting realistic expectations, just people resorting back to like their childish behavior, if you will, because they're not comfortable, or they haven't been given the right tools, if that makes sense. So it's the people, to answer your question.
So we talk about this every once in a while, but there's a part of what we do, and I'm assuming this is kind of across the board for all the blue collar trades out there. But you get these moments in construction where you almost feel like a little kid again. You know, you're like, it kind of sounds ridiculous, but like you're just walking around and it's like a beautiful day out, and you got a crew, you got a crew of framers like nailing walls together, and you got the plumber, and you're like just looking around, and you're just like, man, this is exactly what I thought it was when I was a kid. You know,
Yeah.
there's like a big portion of it where it's like there's a lot more to it, and again, the pressure, the challenges of managing people on our end. Um, yeah, there's kind of the grown up stuff, but then there's like the points where you can step back and just be like, wow, this is really cool what we're doing. How many of those moments have you experienced during your career?
Often. I was trying to see if there was a, I don't know. It happens very often to me. I also learned recently that you just kind of have to be a little bit goofy to allow people to have some space to breathe. Um, so in those goofy moments, I do find myself like a little kid again, or like I do have those aha moments. I had one last week. I was in such a good mood. Like it felt there was some things that had happened, and there was like I just felt like a little bit of weight was left off or taken off of my shoulders, and I was able to genuinely like step back and breathe a little bit, and I just was like I was in awe again. I was like, wow, like you got to be shitting me. Look at these guys. They're just hanging from the wall and just doing this. Like that is what I like, man, I wish I could go throw on my bags to go do X, Y, and Z. Um, or why I don't understand why that person's doing that. And I get that every day. I get to walk through and you have a lot of like head scratching moments, and then you have a whole lot of like, damn it, this industry is freaking awesome. These people are fucking badass. These guys show up every day, do the same shit. Some days are better than others, but like for the most part, like these guys are doing badass stuff.
Mhm.
And it's everything that I wanted for construction. It's everything that I wanted for myself. And I do get those moments every so often where it's exactly what I expected.
Just going back to the people, um, the best thing and the worst thing about your day to day. Would you rather take someone that knows everything about their specific trade, but doesn't work well with people, has no teamwork, but is super knowledgeable and really good at what they do? Or would you have someone that's not knowledgeable, knows next to nothing, super green, but works really well with people? Like no middle ground, just complete opposite ends. Knows nothing, but is easy to work with, listens to people, and plays nice, or someone that's like sharp as a tack, but does not get along with anyone.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard. I have to ask, I have to ask a question to be able to answer your question. What is the task at hand? What is going on?
Hmm, that's a good question.
Like, are we coming in? We're gonna do a TI. We've got I build out a schedule. It's a 10-month schedule. Ownership says, sorry, you have 6. Or is it like you gotta
All right, here's the scenario. You've got you're adding a shop behind your house.
Mm.
You're gonna build it. You're gonna pour the slab. You're going to frame it. You're going to roof it. You're going to put lights in there. You're going to build it out. You're going to build out a recording studio
For the Ruck.
at your house. It's a standalone structure. You're living on 5 acres of land right now. Would you take 5 guys that don't know anything about construction but can work well together, or would you take 5 guys that know exactly what to do but can't get along with the other 4?
Am I retired at this point?
You are managing the job. Are you? I don't know if that answers you.
I mean, I have 2 answers. It's unfortunately the reality of construction is you have these crews, both crews, so often, unfortunately, and this is probably going to resonate with a lot of people, especially if they're in management that listen to our show, because we've had some of these questions or people have like expressed some of these things to us. But I personally, me being who I am, I would take the people who don't know. I would love the opportunity to take time for selfish reasons. I have done my best learning when teaching people. So it'd be a selfish thing. I would love to live vicariously through someone who is just getting started, you know, just hearing the questions that they have and just I think that would be really fun. But I also do like the stubborn individual who thinks they've done it all, you know? Like I do really like those conversations because in those hard pressing conversations or where you're butting heads or you're trying to figure it out, I do genuinely believe like iron sharpens iron. So I think I would enjoy both sets of crews for separate reasons.
Of course, that's not reality. You
Yeah.
typically land in the middle.
Yeah.
Usually you have one guy that knows it all, one guy that's super green,
Mm-hmm.
and then just a mixed bag of whatever. But yeah,
Yeah.
I was just curious to see what you'd say.
Yeah.
That's a good answer.
It'd be you'd get 2 different things and you'd be able to take away from both scenarios, you know?
Knowing what you know now, and if you had to pick a single trade from, what we do, what would you choose?
I'd have to be a subcontractor or I could be a general contractor.
Subcontractor.
Mm. I'd work for the elevator union
Why?
because they get to do a little bit of everything. I know that's going to be a controversial answer, but that's what I would do. I'd work for the elevator. I think there's also like an element of what really happens behind these closed doors, you know? That'd be the biggest driver for me. Yeah, I would probably work for an elevator company if I didn't love general contracting as much as I do. That or I'd be a lineman. It's always been fascinating to me. That's what I would do. One of those 2.
You just like the danger aspect.
Danger.
They're both pretty dangerous.
Yeah.
Those were perfect answers. Shit, I had a roadmap in my head. It's gonna take me 1 second. I want to ask you the same questions that you asked me. Well, I think you just asked me one. What I'm gonna add one. What's your most proud moment in your career?
My most I have a couple proud moments.
Hold on.
Gonna have to do some cutting. Can I ask again?
What is your most proud moment that you've had in your career?
It's tough. I don't know. I don't know if I have like a thing or an event, but learning, and it's been a long journey, I would say, and it will. I hope that it continues to be a long journey. But one thing that I am really proud of is I have had the opportunity to allow my pride to be hurt. And I am proud about how I've responded to my pride being hurt. So I'm proud with how I've navigated some opportunity, like not even an opportunity. I'm proud how I've navigated my feelings being hurt, like for lack of better terms or for simplicity. Yeah, the opportunity to get my pride knocked down a little bit has been extremely humbling and has restarted my mentality tenfold. It's made me better, and I'm grateful that at the time, I was not grateful, but I feel very clear about it, and I am grateful, and so that's probably my most proud moment to date.
Can you give an example of when your pride was knocked down and how you responded?
Um, it's been it's been a lot of different scenarios, I guess, just being brought down to life, like getting a series of wins and just being real, like, like to be in construction and to be anything and successful in construction, you have to have a little bit of like uh, about you, you know. And I've been able to like compile a series of good wins, and I decided that I wanted to step away from not even not in a bad realm. I just wanted to see a different um, sector, if you will, in construction. And in doing that, there's a lot of stigma on both sides between like commercial versus multifamily builders, and they don't do this or they don't do that, or it's a joke, or the sub calibers, whatever. The list goes on and on. But I decided to step away from doing the commercial that was not like it big and sexy, but to leave to do things that are way bigger and in my opinion a little bit more sexy because it's you just don't have time to stop and breathe. But switching to multifamily was a kick in the face at the beginning. It was different. It was a different approach. So I would say that that was I guess an example. You know,
How have you responded?
just being a sponge. Not not talking very much, um, not wanting to talk. I would say when I first came, I wanted to come in and I I I'm grateful that I came in firm, but I wasn't like a bull in a china shop. I came in firm. I said things that had some merit or had some good standing, but I had a good feeling, or I had a little bit of a vibe, if you will, where I was like, oh shit, I gotta step back a little bit. I gotta listen, observe, and just shut the fuck up, you know? And that helped so much because I was able to see, hear, move, adapt, and learn, you know? I was able to learn so much, and I'm continuing to learn so much in this sector just because it's ever changing. And there's an element that I didn't really think about. You are putting people in a building overnight, and that changes the game. It's their home. It's people's place of business as well, and there's just a there's an added element of enclosures and fire ratings that I was a little bit ignorant about, a lot of bit ignorant about. And I do genuinely love the complexity of these buildings, and I love how fast they are, and I love that you can't breathe at points. So that's how I've adapted. Just go with the flow, stop, listen. You are not you don't need to talk every waking minute of every day. You just should not talk actually. You should sit there and wait, you know?
You asked me this question. I'm going to ask you the same one. What is your do you have a lowest moment, or have you experienced lows?
I don't know if I have a lowest moment. Same thing with like my most prideful moment. I don't really have an event or something that I can that comes to mind at the moment, but I have felt the lows. The industry is predominantly just a bunch of dudes that have a stigma of just like get through it, do what you need to do, yada yada yada. It's definitely shifted where there's resources and people talk to one another a little bit more. I am not very good about bringing up my own stuff, which I'm trying. You said something that really stuck out to me. It's just having a village, having people that you could talk to and lean on and like bounce ideas off of. Like having a good support system is key in the success. And I do have a very good support system. The problem is not them, it's me. So I do internalize a lot of my lows. Um, but recently I've just been kind of figuring out how to like touch and go and just express some of those issues that I've had. So I can't think of an example that I'm wanting to share or willing to share, but there is lows. It's easy to get caught up. This industry could chew you up and spit you out. You know, it does it to a lot of people. It's hard. We've talked about the pressures. It's like being in a pressure cooker, and if you're if you don't lose your if you don't lose all your marbles, you could internalize it and potentially strain your body. We've been able to realize that as an industry. So it's good to have resources. It's good to have people because this industry will chew you up and spit you out. It's physically demanding. Um, the elements are tough. The expectations are tough. The care between everybody isn't really talked about enough. So it's easy to fall into like a trap of like, I feel sad, or I feel like I could do something else, or I am wasting my time, or I'm not where I want to be. But you do need to like realize you are exactly where you wanted to be 5 years ago. If you have any sense of like goals or want or desire of trajectory, you are further along today than you were however many years or months ago than when you started. You are doing something more. So that's the only thing that's pulled me out of those lows. Like, you wanted this. Well, I don't like this. Well, you asked for it. So what else do you want? You know? And just just spending some time with yourself and knowing what you can and can't handle is important too. Does that answer your question?
Yep. Would you change anything about your career tra- trajectory at this point?
No. No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't change anything.
What about?
Would
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I would have had an open mind a little bit sooner, you know? I just was not. I felt like, and this has been a crutch, almost a dagger for myself that I self-inflicted, but you never want to show, or I didn't want to show like weakness, so I didn't want to like open up like to ask a question or to whatever. You know, it was pride. That's another, I guess, example. I was too prideful to just ask the stupid question, you know? And I would sit there and I'd mess with something for 5 hours and figure it out. But I could have just asked the simple question and gotten the task done in 30 minutes, an hour, you know? So just being a little bit more respectful with not only your time, but the company's time. Um, it, it, it just goes a long way to set your pride aside. So that's, I guess, I said no, but I wish I would have had more of an open mind to just ask the questions or to just ask why or whatever. I mean, I was always willing and would always jump into any scenario or jump into any task if I saw someone needed help. I always had that like get up and go, but I never really like, I would get up and go blindly. I didn't like get up and like, wait a second, the hell are we doing? You know, we're jumping off the building. Sweet. Because I didn't stop, you know, and say like, well, this is dumb. So
You mentioned that when we were talking about my background, my college experience. You you were like interested in potentially wanting to take some classes like that at this stage in life.
mhm.
Did you ever look into that
Like to
for
do
real?
right now.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
real.
I did.
What'd you find?
Yeah, you can enroll. Like you can go to CU and pay for like a class. They let you do that.
You can go to CU and pay for one class.
I no, it wasn't CU. It was UCCS. So it was like a sister school. You can get like, I mean, you're just basically wasting money because it doesn't go to anything. But in the grand scheme of like how it's set up, you know.
I know there's like programs and stuff through the community colleges and the trade schools. I'm wondering if you have to join, um, if you have to like
And
be enrolled as
yeah,
like a full-time or part-time student and what that looks like. Cause it would be awesome to
it
go
would be.
like take a welding class or take a design course of some sort.
Yeah.
It'd be really cool to be able to do that just for your own knowledge and experience. Just so anyone knows, there really aren't any requirements for what Cody and I do as far as education goes. I think just like with a lot of the different tradesmen we've had on, they've mentioned that you can get your education paid for if you're an electrician and plumber. Anyone that uh, requires classes to become a certain level in those trades. I do think GCs are also open to paying for courses. I know our company has mentioned that several times. So yeah, just remember if you do skip the college education and go into the trades or go into the GC world, there are opportunities available for additional education, classroom style, if that's what you're looking for.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I would suggest it. I don't quite know. I know that the programs are offered, but I don't know. I don't quite know, like you said, if you have to enroll as a student, but they are there. So the curriculum is there. I almost thought about just buying a book too. Just reading it.
Yeah.
But I know I wouldn't do that.
You might. I don't know.
I might cruise through the first 10
I'll bring you
pages.
one. I think I still have some old
Do they
books.
have pictures?
Yeah. Something like that.
That's what I need.
From like the 80s.
That's funny.
What do you think? Should we wrap this up, or did you have anything else you wanted to cover?
No, I think this is a good one. There's a lot. There's a lot that I'd like to go through. I do think we should start doing these every month or something. Every other month.
Well, I think that's a wrap for this one.
Appreciate it, Ruction Nation. You guys are the best.
Thanks, everyone. We'll see you next time. Yeah, we'll catch you next time. Fuck.
Later, Gator.
See you guys.
Thank you.
Leave that.